Welcome back, guys. This is Building a Million, one day at a time. Now, we've got craziness going on in America right now. We've got Americans going broke, inflation going insane. We've got a recession upon us. Let's dive into things. So, this statistic came out in this news article saying that 10 Americans, so 60% of Americans, can't afford a $500 emergency bill. We've talked about this before. I'll show you the video that we talked about it. And this was saying that 40% of Americans couldn't afford a $400 bill. And now it's increased within the last year to 60% of Americans not being able to afford a $500 bill. Now, that seems pretty crazy because we were doing so great up until November, and then we've had just kind of a downfall since then. Americans, what's going on? Well, let me kind of explain what's going on. We've got inflation going through the roof. Our last CPI data saying inflation year over year was 8.6. And so the Feds have started to increase the interest rates, whereas before Fed interest rates were at 0, now they're at 1.5, and they're saying they're probably going to raise it in on the 13th or the 14th up another 0.75. So we'll be sitting at 2.25. Which is increased interest. Right now we're around 6% for a 30-year mortgage, but that's going to probably increase it to 6.5% for a 30-year mortgage. Now, how does that affect us? Well, Americans don't want to spend any less than they were before. They actually want to spend more. It's summertime. They want to get out. They want to go enjoy life. We want to go on vacations and play and all this fun stuff. Well, we're seeing some inflection points due to that. That inflation rates they're saying is going to be around 8.8 or 8.9 year over year, which is not good. It's still rising. If you go to the grocery store, you'll see it. If you go to the gas pump, you'll see it. Now, gas is kind of tapered off, and actually where I live, it's fallen a little bit from its highs I think we were at 5.25, and today it's at like 5.09. So it's coming down a little bit, but still astronomically high from where it's been. If you go to the grocery store and go try to buy a gallon of milk or a dozen eggs or bread, I mean, I was mind blown. We've been buying eggs at $1.25, $1.50 for 18, and I went in the store last week and it was $4.30 for the same thing. And so inflation's just going through the roof, and us as Americans are like, well, we'll just keep buying because why not? And that's why people are getting more into debt. The first quarter of this year, they said that there was over 450 million new credit lines open. So that's credit cards, loans, personal loans, HELOCs, stuff like that were opened just the first quarter of this year of 2022. So that's basically 2 credit cards for every able 18 or over adult opened up a new credit line. That's insane. We're spending more money than we've ever spent before, and we're going into this giant recession because we're about to get our second quarter of GDP at a negative, which defines us as in a recession. So if that happens, our gross domestic products falls negative for 2 quarters. It was for the first quarter. If it is for second quarter, then we're technically in the recession. And the Fed minutes came out 2 days ago, and they didn't say anything about a recession. They didn't say anything that we were going into recession or inflation was going to be transitory or anything. They just said, we're doing our best. And that was it. And so kind of hard to take from that. They're going to be meeting again on the 13th to raise interest rates, and that's going to be interesting to see if they stick with that 0.75 or if they, because inflation's even higher, if they go up to 1%, we don't know. So what am I doing? Well, I've been making sure that I have enough savings to get through a full year if I had 0 income. And that means everything. So if my rentals weren't paying me a dime and I had to pay those, the loan that I have on the student complex, I could live. So food, stuff like that, gas, if I don't have a job, if I stop teaching, which is looking more and more like it's going to happen. If everything went 0 for me tomorrow, I'm making sure that I have at least 1 year's worth of savings to cover everything, because we don't know how long this recession is going to be. We don't know how long till things are going to recover. We don't know that if the stock market's going to recover. Now, that's an interesting thing, because even though we've got the anticipation of inflation going up even higher, we've got the anticipation of this, the Fed's increasing interest rates another 0.75 to 1%. The stock market's been going green the last 2 to 3 days, even with these reports. So why? Well, we've got the 30-year bonds coming down, which usually affects us with the stock market increasing, but there's no catalyst for that to happen with inflation and with interest rates continue to climb. So we've kind of got chaos going on right now with interest rates doing what they're doing, and with the housing market. Everybody said that the housing market bubble was popped, and yet houses are still selling. Yeah, we're getting more and more inventory. We're at like 2/3 more inventory than we had last year at this time, but we also have people still buying with these astronomical prices. Prices haven't come down a ton. Now they've started to reduce a little bit from their all-time highs, but they're still in extremely high numbers. I mean, the average price is still clear up there in the 380s, and so people are still buying them, even with interest rates at 6%. So this kind of makes me worried a little bit with if we are going to get even a bigger bubble, because the housing market bubble has not popped. The car bubble has not popped. Everything has not popped. People just assumed that it was a bubble and it was popped, but it hasn't yet. We're still seeing these high prices. We're still seeing people buy. People are getting loans. People are spending money. And that's why it's making me nervous, to where I'm wanting to prepare for when they say, yep, we're in a recession and crap kind of hits the fan and we're kind of stuck in a situation for who knows how long. Could be 6 months, could be 3 months, could be 2 years. We just don't know. When 2007's housing market crashed, we didn't recover until 2014? So that was quite a crash. However, way different than where we're at today, but we've still got the war in Ukraine going on. Russia's not giving up. Ukraine's kind of running out of steam and they don't know what they're doing. And we've still got, gas prices just going insane. We've got the new election coming up this year, with Biden's term being about over and going through another presidential election, which usually gas prices come down for a presidential election because they want it to look good. And so they bring gas prices down. I mean, when Trump was running versus Biden, look at gas prices then. We had all-time lows I saw it under $1. You had places like Texas that were selling it for like 98 cents. Here locally, we were buying it for like $1.15 a gallon. And now we're 4 years later, we're up at $5 a gallon again, like it was in 2008. So we're seeing these things happen again. We don't really know what the future is going to bring with a recession, or with interest rates going up, or with the housing market staying where it's at. Like I said, I could see that the housing market pauses for a little bit and then it's pushing higher. That's a possibility, and it kind of is looking at that way right now. It's kind of paused and stagnated, kind of where it's at these all-time highs. Again, some price reductions, but not a ton, not where they need to be. And people are still buying because they still have a shortage of homes. Now that it's summertime, people are like, well, I'm going to put my house on the market and see what I can get for it, and they're selling. And we still can't keep up with demand with house building. So if you have any questions about what's going on and you want to know more, feel free to comment down below. I love to get your comments and read through those and answer them. If you haven't hit that like button yet and you've made it all the way through this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, do that now. But this is Building a Million, one day at a time. We'll catch you next time.